What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Mandy Rose being traded to Raw, how Vince actually reacts to bad ratings, Summer Rae wants to return to WWE, Chris Jericho says that WWE will regret firing Miro, Peyton Royce goes off on Netflix's Cuties movie, R-Truth's mission was to make Brock Lesnar laugh, Miro says AEW is destroying NXT, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Our first story looks at Mandy Rose being drafted to Raw. Yes, big news for SmackDown and Raw as Mandy Rose has been drafted from the blue brand to the red brand. Last night, The Miz broke the news during Talking Smack, advancing the storyline between The Miz and Morrison in Heavy Machinery. Mandy Rose took to Twitter to express her disgust. "You dirty bastard. 3 weeks. It took 3 weeks to find out why I wasn't on SmackDown, and of course it's because of you, Mike. I had a career moment at SummerSlam. To not be on SmackDown and you just drop it on Talking Smack like it's nothing. You affect my career and my time so you could try and stop Otis from succeeding. This is how you use your pull? Wow. If I'm going to Raw, that's great. I'll do bigger and better things on Mondays than I've done on Fridays. Oh, and if you think you're gonna split Otis and I up, think again, Miz. There are 7 days in a week, and me and Mr. Money in the Bank are as tight as ever." How this affects the storyline romance between Otis and the Golden Goddess remains to be seen, but it does raise an interesting question. How is The Miz able to affect a change for a superstar? With the WWE playing up The Miz and Morrison's quest to somehow relieve Otis of his Money in the Bank contract, a match to somehow bring Mandy back could happen. If not, what do you think of Mandy's move to Raw? Next up, R-Truth's mission was to make Lesnar laugh. R-Truth is a funny man, so funny that Paul Heyman and some wrestlers backstage made a bet that R-Truth could make the normally stoic Brock Lesnar laugh. Speaking with TalkSport's Alex McCarthy, R-Truth recalled Paul Heyman approaching him with a huge challenge. "I remember Heyman called me to the gorilla position and it's like 20 minutes before we had to go out. I had no promo, they gave me nothing and I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Paul was like, well, we have a bet going on. We don't want Brock to know what you're going to say. We want you to make Brock laugh." I said, "What? Truth, you're a funny guy and we have a bet you can't make Brock laugh. I think you can, but they think you can't. So just wing it." Once Brock came in, I'm like, damn, I think we should tell Brock what I'm gonna say. You know, it's Brock Lesnar. We should tell Brock what we're gonna say. I don't want him to be surprised by anything. Paul's like, this is gonna be great. While R-Truth was apprehensive, he went all in on the bet despite his daunting opponent and his lack of preparation. I remember the moment in the ring and I'm going on and making stuff up in my head. I saw when Brock looked at me, as in that look of, what the hell is he talking about? Because I'm just babbling. I knew I had him then. I did all I could to hold myself from laughing when I saw Brock burst out laughing because of Paul Heyman's facial expressions. The magic just kept going on, man. While Brock Lesnar and comedy sounds like an oxymoron, the Beast incarnate has occasionally shown some humor as seen at 2019 when he won the Money in the Bank briefcase and turned it into a boombox, occasionally dancing as he held it. But whilst we're on the subject of R-Truth and Brock Lesnar, Lesnar wants to work with Truth. And when Truth discussed his ability to make Lesnar laugh, it led to an unlikely conversation between himself and the Beast. Truth mentioned this during an interview with TalkSport's Alex McCarthy saying, "The magic just went on, man, it kept going on. And after that segment was over, we're in the back and Brock was still laughing. He said, bro, we gotta do something together. There's something there. I don't know what it is, but there's something there." And we left it there. I know it was something we can always go back and pick up, but that is one of the highest moments in my career right there. Do you guys think that we'll ever see a program between R-Truth and Brock Lesnar? Whilst it would definitely be funny, the WWE would have to work hard to make any kind of match out of it, given the vast differences between Lesnar and Truth on the wrestling food chain. It's like Shark versus Chihuahua. Next up, Peyton Royce criticizes Netflix film Cuties. Add WWE superstar Peyton Royce's name to the growing list of people who are offended, and in this case, downright disgusted by the film Cuties. Royce tweeted her outrage at the film's content, writing, "I want to see for myself what the rage is with Cuties on Netflix, aside from the pic, so I skipped to the end for the final dance. I understand the outrage. I couldn't watch the whole dance. unbelievable. We need to protect kids, not exploit them. Shocking, sad, and so disgusting. And the film has been criticized for some what are calling the exploitation of children. Due to YouTube standards, we can't say much about the film other than to Google it if you haven't heard about it. Next up, why WWE is loading up this week's Raw. Now, last week's Raw was criticized for little build-up of the show itself, as well as the show being pretty much another dud. But that's not the case this week, as the WWE has announced a number of matches including Keith Lee vs Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins vs Dominic Mysterio in a cage. Okay, we'll give him that one, no one wants to see repeats, but at least this is a cage match. The Street Profits vs Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro, as well as the Raw Women's Champion Asuka defending her title against Mickie James. The reason for the loaded card is that the regular NFL season resumes, which means that Raw will be facing Monday Night Football for the rest of the year. Dave Meltzer commented on the situation during a recent Wrestling Observer Radio. They're going really hard on Monday with another cage match, this time with Seth and Dominic Mysterio. Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre are doing a match which is so premature because they're going against the NFL. As Meltzer noted, the WWE is definitely hot-shotting with the Lee vs McIntyre bout, as it's a marquee match that should be reserved for a pay-per-view. While it's unlikely we'll see any kind of finish there except for a Randy Orton run-in, it's another example of the WWE burning through premium matches on television. Just look at the number of Randy Orton vs Keith Lee matches we've seen in just a month, and it's clear the WWE is desperate to boost Raw's ratings at the expense of long-term booking. To be honest, it's a play right out of Nitro's 2000 playbook. Next up, is Summer Rae returning to WWE? A former WWE superstar, Summer Rae, hasn't been seen in the WWE since 2017, but a recent tweet by the former Total Divas star and recipient of the Wrestling Observer newsletter's 2013 Worst Worked Match Award has fans thinking she might be on her way back. Summer recently tweeted, "Days like this, I miss laying the SmackDown." Her comments have made some fans thinking she may be the mystery woman who has vignettes having aired recently on SmackDown. While other fans are certain it's Carmella, we won't know until the lady in high heels makes her debut. Would you guys like to see Summer Rae back in the WWE? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Jericho says WWE will regret firing Miro. Miro shocked the world when he showed up on the 9th September Dynamite, but apparently AEW wanted him long before that. Chris Jericho talked to his fans on YouTube on his Saturday night special and also mentioned that WWE will regret ever firing Miro.
I think it's great to have him. I've always been a fan of his, and I think he's another guy that for some reason, whatever reason, kind of fell through the cracks there that they're going to regret letting go. But we got him, and we're excited.
He also revealed that he wrote the controversial line in Miro's AEW debut promo, which did touch upon his WWE career.
I'm glad that he came in and that he kind of gave his mission statement, mentioned kind of indirectly WWE, glass ceiling and brass ring, and take the brass ring and shove it up your ass. That was my line. He couldn't believe he'd be allowed to say it. He's like, "Really? Can I say it?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can say whatever you want here. No problems here, baby." And then we leave it there. We don't go back, and this is not a place that's constantly bashing anybody else. I mean, obviously, when you come from another company, when you come from WWE, you have to acknowledge the fact that you came from there. You know what I mean? That you have to acknowledge the fact that there's a history there. But other than that, you say your piece and you move on.
Now, fans are curious as to whether the big man will find success that eluded him in the WWE. And next up, Miro also talked about AEW destroying NXT. Now that Miro is a member of the AEW roster, he has one goal in mind, helping AEW to succeed. Speaking on his YouTube channel, the former WWE superstar said,
"We all have the same agenda. We all want AEW to succeed. We are promoting ourselves, of course, but we all in agreement that AEW, we're already doing great and destroying NXT and all that, but now we're up for the big prize, man. And I knew they were gonna get there anyways, but I'm just glad that I can be along and join that joyride,
And Miro seems much happier in the AEW than when he worked in the WWE as Rusev, but to be fair, we'll have to see how he feels in 6 months or a year. Miro talked about AEW and its president, Tony Khan.
I'm just excited to have this opportunity. I'm thankful to Tony Khan that we got in contact, and I think when he got in contact, everything was fine. He's such a good dude. He's such a great owner, and he's very open to talk to and creative and ideas and everything. He's around everybody. It's not that he's hiding, none of that. His energy is definitely great. He's got great energy. He just and he just wants the best, man. That's all it is.
Do you guys think Rusev can help Dynamite reach even greater heights? The promotion has done a lot in just under a year, and if NXT moves to Tuesday nights, it could see even bigger things happen. And finally, how Vince copes with bad ratings. Last but not least, speaking of NXT's ratings woes, former WWE producer Arn Anderson recently commented on how Vinnie Mac handles bad news. AA talked about this on his recent podcast, saying, "He comes in the door and he sits down at the desk up front. He doesn't say a word to anybody except, 'Let's go.' You know something's not right. It usually involves finances or ratings. Only one can imagine what it's like working with Vince McMahon on a daily basis, let alone when he's in a grumpy mood." But there you have it, guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.